Hello, Matt. It's great to see you. How have you been the last couple of days?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Ahmed. Yeah, not too bad at all.
Yeah,
Obviously, a couple of games under our belt. I'm looking forward to the last one on Saturday.
yeah, that's one. So let's start with obviously looking back at St Albans and at Hampton Richmond. Two competitive games, different, same result, but still a lot you've learned about the squad and a lot about their performances. How did you assess on those two performances by the youth?
Yeah, I thought they were okay. I didn't think they were great, to be honest. They were okay at St Albans. You know, the pitch. I don't know what you could tell from sort of the streaming, but the pitch was actually quite long. Ian Anderson, their manager, sort of apologised to me before the game about that, and said about the game they previously played in the week, and they felt they had to let it grow a bit, which I think it really affected the game, and it was a bit of a slow tempo, and there wasn't much intensity into the game, especially with no fans there again. It was a bit of a dullish affair, if you like. A little bit frustrating at times going into yesterday's game, and I thought the Hampton's pitch was decent, to be honest, and they were watering it before we got there and had a better intensity about the game, and there was a good feel about it. But yeah, just overall, I'm probably just a little bit frustrated. I'm really with nobody's fault here really, but just going into St Albans, which is our fourth of six, Hampton, which is our fifth of obviously the 6 pre-season games, and though this sort of stage, I really want to be getting my main squad out there together, looking at different partnerships, looking at centre half partnerships, front two partnerships, wide players combining with fullbacks, etc. But like on Saturday, we had Will Randall, Buteman, Bugel, John Barden, obviously Ben Goodliff, who's out as well. So you've got 5 players in the stand there, as well as a Rob Mills who's just coming back into the fray there, coming off the bench. So really sort of 6 key players for us not featuring in the St Albans game. Then to sort of get a couple back, but then lose a couple last night, with Toby, I think if these were league games, I think I'd be not risking them, but that they'd be fit to play. But at this stage of 10 days, hopefully before we start, that I didn't feel it was right to play David Adjaboy, Toby Show Silva last night, Eastie. He's had enough minutes and he'll play Saturday, so I wanted him on the bench. That obviously we've still Goody out, John Barden out. So again, we're now sort of 6 players out of our team yesterday who it's frustrating going into the latter stages of pre-season and not feeling like we've got a full team at all. But for the lads who did play and I feel they did well and got some good valuable minutes into them. We've managed to remain unbeaten, which is not the be all and end all in pre-season, but it's certainly nice to make sure you don't lose games, whatever you do, and we try and instill that in training, let alone in pre-season games, which hopefully rubs off into the season. But just having to not use trialists, but look at trialists, because I still feel we're 1 or 2 maybe signings away. Even this late stage, I probably would like to have maybe been done there, but nothing sort of materialised in those positions. So certainly desperate to look at relevant trialists in relevant positions for what we might need. So yeah, it's been a good couple of games, but certainly slightly frustrated on my part in terms of the bodies that we've got available to us at the moment and exactly how we play, because I don't feel we're really us at the moment. But still early and we've still got time to put that right.
Just touching on the announcement yesterday made by the government in regards to about crowds returning to stadia at the levels we play at, be it Step 2 to the Premier League. All that has been halted for now. There's been a reasonable outcry by a lot of clubs, owners, managers, and players alike. We've seen a few opinions from some of our own players making their voices heard regarding the matter. Wanted to get your thoughts on that and what you think about the decision that's been made regarding the return of fans to stadiums.
Yeah, it's been very disappointing. I had to attend a Zoom meeting, a managers' meeting for the National League on Monday afternoon, and we sort of got informed then, but this was before the government announcement that we wouldn't start the season on October 3rd without fans in attendance. Now, within 24 hours later, now the government are announcing that there will be no fans at elite level of football, and we're classed as that. And unfortunately, that means if they're saying what they're saying is true 24 hours earlier, then we won't be starting on the 3rd of October. But we've obviously heard the outcry from many clubs and chairman, and my personal point of view as a manager, I'm desperate to start on the 3rd of October. I'm desperate to get this league campaign underway. We've done all our preparations. We've had our pre-season. We're coming now into the last week of it. We're in a reasonably good place. And we just, like I say, my frustration of pre-season friendlies, I want to get back into competitive football as soon as possible. And, I'll be desperate to do that come a week Saturday. But, is that feasible in terms of us? I've spoken briefly to Bruce and Adrian Barry on where we're at, but there's still many uncertainties at the moment of if and when we will start. So I believe there's a National League meeting tomorrow, a National League board meeting tomorrow, which they'll discuss the pros and cons of us starting. And, if we do start, great. I think that's what we all want. First and foremost, with fans there. But if that's not to be, which obviously is the case, then just to get going anyway. And then hopefully the supporters can come into our stadium and start watching games at the nearest opportunity. But no, if that's the case, then something might, and will have to be done to financially support not only ourselves, because we'll be in the same boat as every other lower league team, National League team who's in the same scenario as us. And so, but again, we'll just wait for the information tomorrow. We'll take it a step at a time. We're not going to try and guess or panic any stage now on what could happen or will happen. We'll wait to hear the information tomorrow. As I said, I hope we're playing, and if it's behind closed doors, and then hopefully there's some help to us and all the other football clubs at our level to make sure that we can compete and the money's still there, and we can continue the level of football and the standard we're at.
It brings me to the point in terms of obviously being financially stable and the United We Stand initiative. As of last night, we were up to 352 contributions, 31,000 raised. It's a great work so far by everybody, but I'm sure you'd want to urge a bit more encouragement out of the fans to contribute what they can to keep the club going through this very difficult time.
Yeah, I touched on it, I think, in our first interview, Ahmed, back at the start of pre-season. I was overwhelmed at the time with the support that the fans have given us. I've during the lockdown period, I'd had regular contacts and catching up with Bruce and AB there. And, I know we've got a unique and a great bunch of supporters who are offering their service and trying to come up with ideas on how to help us and support the football club. Now, we've come up with a fantastic initiative here. And now, with this news yesterday, it's probably highlighting even more now how much we need everybody's support and how we've got to stick together as a football club. And, everyone who's donated so far, I say a massive thank you. But, for the ones who haven't, and, it doesn't unfortunately look like you're going to be able to watch us in the near future. So, anything you might have potentially spent on a match day to come and watch us, to try and help us in any possible way to generate as much money, because we're certainly going to need it. We're certainly going to need it. And, I'd like to try and push the season tickets as well. And obviously that'd be a hard push for me at the moment to try and push any season tickets. But just any financial support, whether it's buying a season ticket, even though we don't know when you can come in, supporting the United We Stand 2020. Any of these initiatives just to try and help this football club financially, they're very, very, very supportive fans, and I just urge you to keep going with us.
Excellent. And obviously we'll hopefully be able to put the link at the bottom, so I'll leave that to my editor to fiddle with that one. Let's talk about back to football. Obviously we'll cover this Saturday's game, the last one hopefully of the pre-season, before we actually start, with the uncertainty growing around the start date. Dorking away, it's as from personal experience, I went there in February when they played Fard in the Cup. There was a day we were meant to play Fard in the league, but they put on a very combative performance that day. I've got great experience of Meadowbank. Speak to me about what you're looking forward to seeing from the squad on that day, and what you have, if you have any interesting words for Dorking.
No, on paper, when we obviously have planned our pre-season fixture list, it was a very strong and competitive pre-season 6 games. So the Haringey Borough game was the only team we were playing at step 3. Then we had the 5 National South teams. On paper, if you're looking at last year, Dorking finished the highest in the league positions, losing in the playoffs there. I watched them last year play Stockport. I think it was in an FA Trophy game. They've got some very good players, and they'll certainly be there or thereabouts challenging come the end of the season. So on paper, I'd say this is our toughest test and our hardest pre-season game. Albeit our last one ready for hopefully the league season starting 7 days later. But I've touched on it earlier. I just hope I've got a few bodies. It's Wednesday evening now, and I'm speaking to Bobby the physio and seeing where we are again tomorrow and again Friday on just managing the players as best as we can, trying to get as many out there as possible to give them the relevant minutes needed to make sure we're managing the group. Still a small group, getting obviously ready and the whole squad ready for the start hopefully. But hopefully we can get a few more back from who have missed the last 2 games, put in a nice strong competitive performance. Hopefully not get beat again. Keep and maintain an unbeaten pre-season record, which would be great. Hopefully that takes us into good stead in the start of the season.
Excellent. And obviously you touched on the squad very briefly, but for expansive reasons, obviously, any relatable injuries or issues with the players heading into Saturday's game? And also touching on the goalkeeping scenario, you only have Buzanis ready as a ready number 1. Do you have any sights on bringing a second choice in before the start of the season?
Good link there, Ahmed. It's a good link into me there. They're very good. Now, in terms of the goalkeeping situation, Brad House, who was at West Brom under 23s last year, he's been training with us full time. He's had some minutes in pre-season. We've actually signed him and dual-regged him to go and play for Horsham. So he made his debut for them last night in the FA Cup against Kingstonian. So, we're in a similar position as we were last year where we're not in a position to be able to have 2 full-time goalkeepers with us. We've got Dean, obviously, as our number 1, who I've been very, very impressed with in pre-season. But Brad's coming in to train with us, but to then play his games for Horsham at the weekend. And then we'll see, touch wood, nothing does happen to Dean. If there was any injuries or suspensions throughout the season, then we'll see where we are with Brad and hopefully we have a capable replacement for the time that Dean might not be there, might not be in the team. So the rest of the players, hopefully John Barden, Rob Milson, David Adjaboy, almost certainly to feature some sort of part against Dorking on Saturday. Toby, again, we just need to check over the next day or 2, but I'm hopeful on Toby as well. Ben Goodliff, unfortunately, seen a specialist today, still not quite there. He won't feature for the Dorking game, so he still won't be in that squad. And we'll monitor his situation over the next week and see how he is early to middle part of next week. But unfortunately, Louis John picked up a bit of a foot injury where he kicked the guy's bottom of his foot. He managed to carry on. We spoke to him at half time. He was fine and he hobbled initially, but got through the game. But that has ballooned up a touch. We've had it X-rayed today. There is no break. We'll see how he is for Saturday, but that might come too soon, especially it being a pre-season game where we might not want to take the risk with a question mark over Ben Goodliff as well. So I'd say Louis is probably a doubt for Saturday, along with Ben. So it obviously leaves us light in centre half positions. But no, we'll be back in this week training and seeing exactly where we are, ready for Dorking.
Excellent. Well, Matt, it's a unique way to hold an interview, but it's been a very successful one. Thanks for joining us. We'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Brilliant. Cheers, Ahmed, and you.
Cheers.